stained glass had to be repaired.
All of it.
It all came out.
Every panel came out. The receipt for that window was in the hallway down here in the Christian Edway. That was a very expensive window in 1888, it cost $125. And about $10,000 to restore it. That I had nothing to do with. I
That's the
didn't like the
original
window.
glass, right?
What's that?
That's the original glass, which is 311.
I don't know what they did, to tell you the truth, but the different panels were bowed. There was about 7 or 8 broken panes from the nursery school for years. So the window needed a lot of work, and they just cleaned it.
After 100 years, they start to sag.
Yeah, and
And
then
when it's soft,
Yeah.
it just
right, and the panels start bowing in or bowing out, and that all got reinforced.
So it's good for another 100 years.
Well, I hope I'm here.
I got to Woodbridge and somebody showed me the stained glass in the basement, in a closet. They're beautiful, gorgeous, turn of the last century stained glass windows, and they all start to sag. I said, we can't afford to restore them, we have no place to put them, so let's sell them.
In my brother's church, they did a lot of restoration, which he was very involved with. And they had one, it was a transom on an interior door. They didn't even know it was a stained glass window. It was
Wow.
a beautiful window.
Well, people were hanging out here and sell our stained glass. It's in a basement, it's in a dark corner, nobody's appreciating it, so then all of some people in Plainfield, they restored it.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
There's a lot of echo, because we haven't got furniture yet. Hopefully when we have furniture and some window treatments, it won't echo so badly. But I have to tell you, I've worked on this for 4 years. I think the first permit I took out was 2017.
Oh my God.
When I did the plans and we started planning this. And then I worked on it for years. I had, if you saw it about a year or 2 ago, I had workbenches in here, my whole shop was in here.
Oh, yeah.
And it was nice because it was my winter shop, because my shop at home isn't heated. And, but it was a labor of love. I was offered lots of help, most of which I declined. Because it's like, it's like I gave the analogy to August that a woman can make a baby in 9 months. 9 women can't make a baby in a month. It just doesn't work out. There's thousands
I like that.
thousands of individual pieces. And you see probably about 20% of what I did is visible. If you remember what this looked like 5 years ago, you can see a taste of it in the bathroom. You can see the old wainscoting is all painted, and there's this big ugly radiator cover. That's what this whole room looks
I don't know if I want to taste of the bathroom.
like. And I was determined to get rid of those old radiator covers, which is easy. I just took them out and threw them away. Gave them a scrap to them. But there was even a radiator in the stairwell that impinged on the stairwell, which got taken out, and I had a plumber come in and just put in a piece of pipe there. And then I framed out all these walls. There's huge holes in the wall. And I have to teach myself how to do wet plaster walls. I've never done this before, but I learned how. You can't tell when I patch now, so I guess I do okay. I framed out all the walls because the windows that are just hanging out this far, this extra 6 inches, I had to build. And I had to take the old chair rail. There's the original. That piece of chair rail is original on that wall. But the rest of it, I had to basically use an angle grinder and gouge it out so I could blend in the new pieces of the 5-quarter and then level everything up. And level is a kind of a loose term here because the window sills on this side are not even the same height as they are on that side. Nothing in this room is really level or square. That's the nature of old construction. When this was built in 1887, I think it was a bunch of farmers working part-time, and they just sort of eyeballed it. But they really did a good job, I have to say.
A new floor.
No, the floor just got refinished. I had a guy come in and refinish it while I was working before.
Beautiful.
It came out very nice. You can see patches where there was probably heat grills at one time. There's one there, and where Linda is sitting, you see that square. That was a raised chancel. about 10 inches, and the chair rail behind Paul went up and across and back down. I had to redo all
Where
that.
did the flyer come up from?
Excuse me?
The flyer needs to come up through the floor.
Right from here someplace.
Yeah.
This picture is a picture that Frank Thorne did,
Makes no sense,
1954.
Oh, yeah.
It shows the organ and where that trap door was, because that stairway went in much later. It had an open railing, and I built that wall just to make it a little bit more obscure. But I redid, all the woodwork. But I didn't really do anything very high, because I just don't deal real well with it.
Is there skeletons up there?
I did find a skeleton.
Okay, we know that.
Oh yeah, I found a rat
What did you do?
in that wall.
Did you put that in there?
Oh, he's in there someplace. I know where he is. Nobody else really wants to know.
You can mount him in front of the lectern. You can mount him in front of the pulpit.
No, he's not coming out again.
From the outside? How do you get to the attic? From the outside?
Those 3 4 beds. Basically, you take a big ladder and push them up.
Yeah, he could keep that. That's for the birds.
I also had
I said that's for the birds, going up in the attic.
I had an insulating contractor come in, and he put holes down both sides, but we blew in insulation in the whole attic. There's nothing in here was insulated at all. And there's some insulation I put in the lower walls, but a bunch of these walls are, there's no way to really insulate them. You only have about that much space between the plaster and the stone.
Can you imagine if God Osborne could see this place? If God Osborne could see this place?
Oh, she wouldn't recognize it.
Yeah, but that's, the nursery school used to be where the kitchen is now. Yeah, where the kitchen is now, that's where I went to nursery school.
Yeah,
That's what it
downstairs.
Yes. Now, I just noticed these running lights.
Yeah, I understood. I mean, because Marilyn remembered some stuff, and talking to Julian. But when the church started in 1952, this was all it was, and out back there were outhouses. And the cellar under this was a dirt floor.
Yeah.
So it all got, slowly modernized. And I could see when I had the holes in the bathroom wall, I could see a place where there was a patch where apparently there was like a wood stove in that corner. I'm speculating, but I could see where the flue was. And if you go down in the furnace room, there's a space about 5 by 5 that there's actually no access to. And I suspect that's the base of the chimney, of the original chimney. But again, that's speculative. I asked Julian, because he would know, but he didn't remember. It wasn't on his radar. He had other things to think about, I guess.
Right.
So anyway, but this was a real labor of love. It was probably the biggest woodworking project I've ever done in my life.
Beautiful.
With the finished woodwork. All the corners, each corner where the paneling is, it's like I had to make a joint and glue it and clamp it and then come back the next day to do it. So each corner was a lot of process, and these angles on the stairway here were, challenging. And there's a lot of little pieces. If you look up on top of the chandeliers, there's a round piece of wood up there. These chandeliers are on a hoist. The switches are over there. They're on a hoist, so they can be lowered to be cleaned and changing the bulbs.
Wow.
But the way the hoists work is the finished plate stopped that far short of the ceiling. So I had to make those round pieces of wood, but each one of them is 16 pieces of wood. And there's so many little details, and there's about 1,000 flaws that I won't tell you about.
We'll never know.
I don't see him.
What's going to heat this? Where is there a heating?
Oh no, this is the one zone on our main furnaces. These are heat pumps, so they will heat and
Well, that'll heat and cool?
Yeah, but I don't know that we'll ever use them for heat. They never use them for heat. But there's remotes on the windowsill. And each remote works on either unit. You just got to point it to the right one. So that's easy. In the stairwell, there's a floodlight that lights up the stained glass window at night. It's not working quite right. There's a switch that's an override. Because right now, it's coming on erratically during the day, and I have no idea why. There's a photocell in the alley outside, and I gotta climb up there with a ladder and re-aim that photocell, so hopefully it's not as sensitive.
John, I assume you talked about how these were radiators and you built this out. Can you
Yeah,
just
all
share
the
that with
radiators
people?
that were covered up by the radiator covers, they're all still there. But if you look on the walls where the grills are, these cast iron grills, and then underneath there's a 2-inch gap. And then there's actually a piece of metal in there so the air can circulate. Otherwise, there's no way to get the heat out. If I didn't leave that gap, I would just be heating up the walls. It wouldn't heat the room. So the air circulates.
And this
John,
what you
how is it stained glass window? Do we not have a date on that?
The stained glass window, 1888.
1888.
The receipts down in the hallway in the Cushionetti. It's been on the wall there for years. There's another receipt there for some of the stones. Like the lintel and I think the step out here. There's receipts. There's a couple of panels, like right here, there's all these grills, and the panels underneath are all easily removable. Basically every 4 feet. You can take out 3 grills and take out 4 screws and get access if anything ever leaks like it did in the lounge one time. We had a leak. No, we've never had a leak in here, but I wanted to make everything so it's accessible. So there's 2 bleeder valves. There's a bleeder valve behind the panel here. There's actually a little door down there, which has got a bleeder valve. And there's another door in that wall because there was a receptacle I clipped off of the light to figure out how to kill it. And you can't bury a live box. So it's got a panel there that you can open up and you don't raise the rain, but open it up.
So you chose these grills that were on the front, which is kind of cool. The black grills, those are new.
Right, they came from a company called the Reggio Register Company. I found them many, many years ago, and they make a lot of different cast iron and glass grills. And because I bought these for my house, because I have 4 grills in my house, and when I built the new part of my house, I duplicated it. And I called them up and I told them what the project was for, and they gave me a very nice discount.
Nice. And this wood came from where?
The paneling, the wainscoting came from a company called Vintage Woodworks in Quinlan, Texas. And they sell a lot of Victorian woodwork, and I mean this paneling, you get it in like any length, virtually any width, about 10 different species, so this is just pine. I actually sent them samples of the old stuff, and they identified it as New England pine, but it was very old growth, and you couldn't really duplicate it today. It just doesn't grow the same, it's not the same environment. This millwork here duplicates what was here originally, and this came from a place in Eureka, California called Blue Ox Millworks. And they will make any kind of custom millwork that you want. I sent them samples. I had actually visited there when I did one of our cross-country trips. That's where I discovered it. And he's got a lot of old machinery, and he's got the dies to make virtually anything. And it's a small company. I'm actually dealing with the owner of the company.
Wow.
It's not like a large company.
Yeah.
But
Were there shoes here?
there was at one time, but that predates any of us.
Yes. Wow.
There's not been used here probably 60 years, 70 years.
Yeah.
Since the sanctuary got built in the 50s probably.
And where the chairs in?
There will be some chairs in here at some point. The committee, which is what, me and Wilma and Jeannie White, with consultation with Kathy Morris, who's an interior decorator, will identify some sort of, and my idea is upholstered chairs, but the wooden upholstered chairs that are also stackable. And we haven't really spec'd that out, and we'll spec out some kind of window treatments, because you want to be a little darker in the room at times.
The chairs will have arms?
We have not determined that yet, but I would.
Some design.
I would like them all to have on personally, but we'll have to
Depends
see.
on how narrow they
It's
are.
not that many that we can put show how many to fit. And it's, what, maybe 45 or 50?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And the,
That's
and
great.
the fire department has a standing occupancy of 80 and then a seated occupancy of something. I mean, there's legal occupancy rates. Next week, I will actually get my final inspections from the town.
Oh,
I presume that will all go uneventfully. I hope. I had to schedule that like 3 weeks in advance, the first one will go
Mhm.
No, I did not. I think she may still be here when Mary Jane and I came here in 75, but I don't think I ever met.
John, you might want to explain to some people what a bleeder valve is, because not everybody knows what a bleeder valve is.
Well, if anybody needs to know, if you're ever in this room and the heat is on and you hear it going gurgling, that means there's air in the line. The bleeder valve is to get the air out of the line. Because if there's air in the line, you're not getting the heat out of that pipe.
right. It's not steam, it's hot water. It's not steam, it's hot water.
It's hot water, it's not steam. Glad it's not steam. Steam is loud.
I know.
The pipes clank.
Yep, they do.
It's like,
Well, can we all say a big thank you to John?
Thank you.
well, I hope and pray this gets well used for many, many years.
Yes, yes.
Our hope, and I know the committee has more to say than this because I'm not on that committee, but in my hope and in the spring we want to do an opening of the chapel to the community, and we're hoping there can be musical events here, groups that need to have meetings can meet here, weddings, whatever, and us having some services. So,
Definitely album.
The downside is it's not accessible.
yes, so we're looking at a ramp outside.
Well, we talked some possibilities, and I hope that in the next year or two, we can make it accessible.
One of those steps outside would be very, just turn one of them into a
We
ramp.
got one more step from that street up to the land.
That's the problem, otherwise go from the
Yeah.
street right up.
It was just the 2 steps, that'd be easy.
Okay.
But
Is the beat step going in? Is the beat step coming in?
no, it's these 2 steps up from the sidewalk, and then one more step at the doorway. Yeah,
Well, it depends. It's easy enough to take a wheelchair on it.
the French doors,
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
if you want to look,
And you see how steep that is there, we're gonna need 3 people to spot a wheelchair.
Well, we would not do a wheelchair here. In a final.
In the final,
Yeah, as we said.
these French doors had about 9 coats of paint on them.